What's up, everybody? I'm here with another book review. This time I want to talk about a book in the original Goosebumps series. This is Night of the Living Dummy 1, the very first one. First off, I want to show you all the editions of this book that I have. First off, I have this one, and I have two copies of this same cover art, but it says something different, so I'll show both of those. This is the one that Brandon Dorman did, I believe. Came out in like 2008. My fiance pointed out how this just isn't as good as the original cover, which you're never gonna have covers that good, I don't think, anymore. But yeah, got that. And the top tagline says "Now a major motion picture." So I'm thinking this came out more like 2015 because that's when the movie came out. And then you got this other one here that says the original series from Master Fright. This is actually probably the 2008 edition. Speaking of which, I'll go ahead and say that these have like special features in the back. This one had a Q&A with R.L. Stine, a Slappy stats thing, and some ventriloquist tips. So, pretty cool. And I also have this edition. This is the edition that came in the little retro tin. Again, this is the cover art here, but I'll talk more about the cover art in just a second. And last but not least, this is my original copy from my childhood. Yeah, this is Night of the Living Dummy, the original copy that I had ever since I was a kid. And to prove, well, not really to prove it, but to show you guys how much this book actually kind of means to me, in case you guys haven't ever heard the story. There is a 25 written up there at the top. So when I was a kid, me and my dad went to a thrift store, and we found a bunch of Goosebumps books, and all of them had these 25-cent thing written on them, so that's how much I paid for these a piece. And I kept them in my collection for years, and they just mean a lot to me, and it's just, a reminder of such a fun time. But yeah, the cover art itself, this is iconic. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. This is a beautiful cover, very creepy, and yeah. So the story itself follows Lindy and Chris, two twin sisters who love to compete with each other over different things, and they're just very competitive, and you know like to compare each other to each other, if that makes any sense. I did take notes on this book because I felt like I was going to get confused with the chain of events that happens and which dummy is like doing the havocing and different things like that. So if you see me look down, that's all I'm doing, is just kind of looking over my notes. So the story follows Lindy and Chris. They are out next door to their house, and there's this house that's being renovated. And Lindy finds this ventriloquist dummy inside a dumpster, and she pulls it out and she carries it home, and she immediately names him like Slappy. And Chris asks, why are you naming it Slappy? And she makes his voice say, "Come here and I'll slap you, and I'll show you." So it doesn't take long for her to get kind of popular with this thing, and she actually gets a job at a birthday party, starts making money, different things like that. So Chris ends up getting jealous, and she wants a dummy of her own. So she asks her parents for a dummy, and they say no, because they're very expensive. If we find one, sure, but we're probably not going to find one, this cheap. So they suggest them sharing Slappy. So she goes to hand her Slappy, and she ends up slapping Chris with the dummy hand, and it's just her, but it's like a jump scare. And when I first read this, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I was like, is he already alive? Like, it already tricked me. Like, didn't take much, but yeah. So yeah, that happens. After this, Chris is laying in bed, and she has a dream that someone is chasing her through the house, and she gets up, and Slappy is sitting there at the foot of her bed. And this scene is actually pretty terrifying and unnerving, because the dummy is just sitting there in a chair, the window's up, the wind's blowing. Stein done a really good job of writing the atmosphere here, very creepy. Slappy doesn't do anything. She gets up, and the dummy like reaches up and grabs her, but it's just Lindy again, just pulling a prank on her. So it doesn't take long for Chris to come home one day, and there's another dummy sitting beside Slappy, and this guy is named Mr. Wood. She names him Mr. Wood. She starts practicing ventriloquism as well, but as she's practicing, things get a little weird. First, she finds, I think it's, yeah, Slappy, I think, or Mr. Wood, is wearing Chris's clothes. That's why I had to look at this, because I got confused with the dummies. There's two dummies, two twins. They both kind of have the same personality, but also are a little bit different from each other. Chris seems more like the more bashful follower kind of person, and Lindy is just more like wants to be more independent, and it's pretty good characterization for a Goosebumps book, you know. So yeah, she starts finding Mr. Wood wearing her clothes. She finds the two dummies like tangled up like in a fight, and she is and she blames Lindy, of course, because Lindy already pulled this prank. But Lindy's like, no, I didn't do anything. Things go crazy one night when she gets up and she goes up. She gets up in the middle of the night and she hears Lindy getting a drink of water. So she gets up and hears somebody like going through the kitchen, and she goes and she finds all the contents of the refrigerator just thrown out and about all over the floor. And it's like eggs, milk, just everything. And also, I forgot to mention, Chris collects like jewelry, and all of that is scattered inside. Her mom gets up, freaks out, you know, what's going on. Lindy swears up and down she didn't do it. Chris didn't do it. So, what's actually going on? Um, so after this, we go back to their room and we get a reveal of what's actually going on. And if this is your first Goosebumps book, it's probably going to throw you off a little bit, and you're not going to love it. I didn't love it even as an adult. The first half of this book was fine for me. It wasn't amazing, but I knew what the twist was. But I will say Stein done a really great job of making me forget, because there's a certain aspect of this book that I knew had to happen for things to really start taking off. And that's all I'm going to say. Eventually, um, Chris has Mr. Wood, and she's like talking to him or practicing with him or something. And this piece of paper she sees this piece of paper in a shirt pocket, and it has these magical words on them. She reads them, and yeah, things get worse. So they have these people that come over, and they want to practice their little ventriloquist act. And when they come over, um, uh, Mr. Wood just starts cracking jokes, and they're very terrible. I did find myself smiling at a few of them, so there's that. I'm not even going to mention them because they're not great. They're not good. But yeah. So even she doesn't know what's going on, and then they have the spring concert coming up, and this is like the climax of the book. And they go to the spring concert, and Chris has agreed to perform with Slappy in front of, or with Mr. Wood in front of everybody. I told you I was going to mess up their names. And they go, and Mr. Wood just starts cracking jokes. And again, I found myself smiling at some of these because they're just bad. They're mean. They're mean spirited, but I had a lot of fun with them. And he just starts throwing up green smoke stuff out across the audience or whatever, and it's really crazy. They get back and they end up burying Mr. Wood in a suitcase up under this like mound of dirt like next door. And the next day, again, Mr. Wood is just like sitting at the um, foot of the table, and their parents forbid them to bring any dummies to the kitchen, and here he is. So this is basically the climax. The parents end up leaving, and we get Mr. Wood coming back to life again, and yeah, something happens here, and I'm not gonna reveal much more because I feel like I've already revealed too much. But yeah, I don't feel like Mr. Wood being like a main antagonist in this book is that much of a spoiler, because we know a dummy is gonna come to life, and Mr. Wood is, the guy here. Slappy is not the main person here. But yeah, I love the little fight between the girls and um, Mr. Wood. There are scenes where he like hisses at them, and I thought that was just really cool. Like Stein done a lot of cool stuff with making Mr. Wood just as scary as possible. But yeah, Not a Living Dummy was a fun book. The first half of this book really wasn't amazing in my opinion, but it was pretty good. And the climax and Slappy in general, and even the ventriloquist dummy, just Mr. Wood, whatever, is very terrifying. The scene at the foot of the bed would have scared me a lot as a kid if I remembered it. I didn't remember that much as a kid. The only things I remembered was the suitcase scene, and there's a scene where he like gets put in the closet. I feel like I vaguely remember that maybe, but yeah. Night of Living Dummy, I give it like a 4 out of 5 stars. Not much to say about it, but I do want to show off a little bit of merchandise, and I do have a good bit of Slappy merchandise, I believe. And I'm going to show them throughout the more Night of Living Dummy books that I read. But I only wanted to show one, and that's just because there's a scene in this book that happens with this. And this is just something that I thought would be pretty fun to show off. So, they made these monster bag things from the 90s, and it came with a little Slappy. So there's Slappy there. Pretty cool. He came with this like green slime stuff, and you like mixed it up and pull them out and you put them together, and it came with like 3 little miniature things and a knife. So I'll show you the knife. You're supposed to use the knife to cut open the pocket, and then the 3 little miniature things. I'm just gonna grab all of them. And again, the only reason I'm showing this off is because this scene happens directly in the book. So there's this spilled milk carton. The teddy bear doesn't show up, but he came with that too. And then you got eggs. Um, yeah, so pretty cool stuff. Um, yeah, I just felt like I needed to show off that. And again, I'm not going to show off everything that I have for Night of Living Dummy merchandise right now. I do have other stuff that I want to show off, and there's a ton of Slappy books that I haven't really reviewed on this channel. So, yeah, Night of Living Dummy gets a 4 out of 5 stars. Not a perfect book for the mascot of the franchise, but very fun book nonetheless. Very creepy book. Definitely an early Goosebumps book. But yeah, I give a Night of Living Dummy a 4 out of 5 stars. Please let me know in the comments below. What did you think about this book? What is your favorite Night of Living Dummy book or Slappy book in general? I think that's it for me, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.